Hi, and thank you for having me here. I think we are going to see a combination of formats. But let's start with the top of the house. I think the whole concept of workforce is going to change because a lot of roles that are traditionally being done by human effort will get automated and delivered through artificial intelligence. So that's the first thing that's going to happen. And organizations will need to manage this combination of capabilities that we have, which is both human and well as machine slash artificial. But within the human side, and which is what the focus of our conversation would be, uh, we will move from a singular format of employer employee contracts to formats that straddle multiple stages. So the rise of the gig economy, more and more consulting formats, employees will, or individuals, no longer will be known as employees, will work much more on a project basis to deliver outcomes and be paid for outcomes rather than the current framework of where you are paid for effort. So as we move from an effort to an outcome-based pay methodology, the contractual formats will change and the number of people you will employ on a full-time basis as we traditionally do today will come down, and the number of people whom you employ as people who would be brought on board for specific outcomes will increase. Now, whether they're consultants, contract, gig, or any other new emerging contractual format, we'll wait and watch. But that's how I see the workforce going in the near future. I wouldn't. I think the 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 challenge is really that all of these three really form a value chain that is critical for attracting, retaining, and motivating or making sure that talent delivers what you have acquired talent to do. So you need to acquire talent, and therefore recruitment and the methods of recruitment need to get more sophisticated. You need to build a better brand, focus on employer brand, and all of that. Uh, you can't under leverage or under invest in employee experience. And given the rate of obsolescence has gone up so much that continuous learning has become the norm. It's no longer good to do, but a must do. So it would be very, very hard to try and pick from those three areas. I would put these three as right front and center for what the world will look like and what we need to do in the future. You know, I think it's almost impossible. I think this is a trope and a definitional statement around India that there is no one India. Whether we look at it from our business lens, we serve many Indias, and that's been our line and that's been our mantra for success at the business level. And I think the same goes for HR. Uh, India exists on a continuum. And therefore, in terms of workforce management, we have organizations that would be right at the top decile of its practice and its capabilities around workforce management and the way they are approaching this whole thing. And you can pick some of the best companies in India who would stand shoulder to shoulder with, pick a company in the world and we would be there. And similarly, there will be companies that are not doing such a great job on workforce management at this point in time. So we exist on the entire spectrum. Uh, what, however, is unique about India is the fact that a very large number of our formal employment, or let me restate that, a very large number of our workforce is not employed formally. They are employed in very informal formats. So if you look at your SMEs, small medium enterprises, at last count there were some 60 million SMEs in the country or more. Uh, of the total workforce in India that is formally employed, the formal employed workforce is only about 7 or 8, or maybe definitely less than 10%. So, and all of our conversations and our conferences really focus on that part alone. There is a need to look at how do you invest and improve the caliber, quality, capability of the rest of the 90% if as a country we need to move forward. if we need to enhance the labor productivity of the country, there are multiple other challenges. There is a whole agricultural workforce which is completely out of scope for all of us, and that's largely women because men have migrated to cities, etc. So, workforce management in India, short answer after a very long explanation, is it exists on the entire spectrum. You can't say it is great or it is bad, it just occupies the whole spectrum on this. So first of all, I think it's just brilliant to have a conference, right? After 2 years of being cloistered at home, it just feels really good to get out and meet people and shake hands with real live human beings, which all of us have been really waving hands at each other on Zoom calls. But more than that, I think uh, there is something to be said about physical meetings and in-person conversations, which sparks a very different level of idea sharing. One of the big challenges I've had with the whole virtual framework and format has been that these are great for delivering transactions. They're great for delivering outcomes, but are particularly ineffective at ideation and brainstorming and just shooting the breeze from where great ideas and great kind of relationships emerge. Conferences such as these spark both of those. They obviously lead to a different caliber of conversations. They reinforce old relationships and help you build new ones. And most importantly, through this process of meeting each other, you actually discover and you spend time in listening to and understanding what other people are doing, which honestly I don't think I've had the time for the last 2 years. So, more power to Sapphire. Uh, make Keep these conferences going. Do more of them. I think they're immensely valuable in creating human connections amongst the fraternity.